I'm Chef Cleva and I'm a little curious. Today we're going to be talking about cheesecake, which is actually the dessert that represents New York. But cheesecake, fun fact, it did not originate in New York. Cheesecake actually came from the ancient Greeks, and they would give it to their Olympic athletes before the sporting events. So as you can see, our cheesecake ingredients are different from the original cheesecake ingredients. We have our 12 ounces of graham crackers. The food processor is your friend, but if you do not have one, you can just put them in a Ziploc bag just like this and get a rolling pin and just have at it until it becomes this consistency. So we're gonna pour it into our bowl right here. So this would be our 12 ounces of graham crackers. So then we also have our 3 tablespoons of sugar, our 12 ounces of butter melted, 4 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, our 8 ounces of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm using white vanilla, but the regular vanilla is just as fine. And we have 4 eggs cracked, chilling. So now what we're gonna do is, before we get our crust together, we're gonna talk about a water bath. Cheesecake needs water bath because cheesecake is a recipe that enjoys moisture and enjoys that steam. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create kind of like a steam room in the oven for our cheesecake. The purpose of that is to avoid the cheesecake top from cracking. So how you start this off, before you get everything together, you're gonna take your 9-inch springform pan, you're gonna flip it over. You're gonna get some aluminum foil, because you're gonna create a barrier between the pan and the water. All right. What you don't want is, you don't want the aluminum foil to go up too high so that it ends up inside the pan, because that will definitely ruin your cheesecake. So just have it go up the sides. And you want it to be nice and sealed off, right? I'm gonna try to use 2. To give it extra cushion of barrier. All right. Once again, I'm going to flip it over, push it down, and that. So that way, when we put it in our water bath, the water will not seep into the cheesecake and won't ruin it. So this is what you don't want. So pull it up, or you can cut it. So now we're going to take our 3 tablespoons of sugar. We're gonna pour it into our graham cracker crust. Don't forget, clean up as you go. We're gonna take our melted butter and we're gonna pour it into our graham crackers and sugar mixture. You can take a spatula, or you can take a clean hand or a fork, and you just try and incorporate everything all together. You don't want it to be too wet, because if you do, then the butter will actually seep out the sides. You still want that nice dryness from the graham crackers and the sugar, but you still want it to come together using the butter. Yeah, scrape, because see, it's coming together on the sides, but you want it to come together in the bowl. And a good way to test it if it's coming together is you can take your spatula and you can just press down to make sure it holds a shape like that. Okay. So once your graham cracker crust is pretty all together, it's still dry, but at the same time it's not too dry. So once it comes together, you're going to take it and pour it into your springform pan. Put it right there. Okay. Everybody in. All right, so once it's in here, you're gonna level it out, and then a good rule of thumb, or a good little trick, would be to take measuring spoons, which I have here. You're gonna use one and you're gonna press down on the springform pan. So you're just gonna press down to give it that nice solid crust. Right? So you went from a nice loose crust to a nice solid crust. Good. Press down. Okay. Once everything is pressed down, we're gonna move on to our filling. Like I said, clean up as you go. So for this, we're gonna use the mixer. So I'm gonna lift up, unlock, there we go. So we have our cream cheese. Our sugar. And our eggs. Now for the eggs, you usually need to put them in like one at a time as everything blends, but it's still gonna come in together properly, okay? So we're gonna do them one at a time. You definitely do not want to overmix this. When you overmix it, it's going to deflate. So here, lock my bowl in, and we're gonna mix it up. We basically want the sugar and the cream cheese to come together before we pour the eggs in one at a time. All right, so as you can see, it's starting to come together one at a time. So one interesting fun fact about cream cheese is it became Philadelphia cream cheese in 1880 because at the time Philadelphia was considered to be the epicenter of amazing dishes. Like it was the place to be to get like some really good food. So it was used as a marketing strategy to get people interested in buying cream cheese. I'm just gonna scrape it down because you really want everything to come together. So scrape, scrape, scrape. There is no harm in scraping everything down because you really don't want anything to be left behind. You want everything to come together. There we go. Like I said, you do not want to overmix. If it has a little bit of lumps in it, that's okay. Give it one more good scrape. You really want everything in this bowl to come together. All right. One more should do it, and then we're gonna pour it on top of our crust. All right. Ooh, this looks good. All right. So funny enough, when the recipe came over to America from Greece, they didn't have the cheese down packed, which is actually how cream cheese was invented in 1872 from William Lawrence. He was trying to recreate the Neuchâtel cheese, such a hard word, which is the original cheese for the cheesecake in Greece, but he couldn't, and by accident he made cream cheese. So we're gonna pour this sucker in. Get all, scrape, scrape, scrape. You wanna get all this stuff in there. It worked hard to come together. The least it can do is come together in this pan. Now as you can see, it's just sitting there like a big glob. What you wanna do, you wanna smooth it out. Once it's smoothed out, this is where the water bath comes in. Just gonna pull all this off to the side. So now with the water bath, you're gonna take a bigger pan, like so. You're gonna put your cheesecake inside. Nestled neatly. So then what's gonna happen, you're gonna take water, doesn't have to be bottled, and you're gonna pour it in until it's about maybe a quarter of the way definitely not up until the top. All right, cool. So our oven is at 325. You're gonna pop this in for 1 hour until the center is solid. Now I will say this, you're gonna check on it and it's gonna look like it's not doing anything. Trust in your recipe. And I'm also gonna show you guys what happens when you don't use a water bath. So guys, it's been a whole hour and our cheesecake with the water bath is ready to come out. All right. You can see that lovely color and it's actually firm around the sides. So after this, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it to the side and you're gonna let it cool down to room temperature. Once it's cooled down to room temperature and you can touch it, you're gonna put it in the fridge. So that way it can be sliced up. So now I'm also going to show you what happens when you don't use a water bath. So, water bath, no water bath. So what happens with this is the top cracked. It didn't come together because it didn't get a steam bath treatment. So moral of the story is water bath for your cheesecake because it enjoys that lovely moisture. All right, guys. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Everything will be in the description below. Bye.